This is a special edition of WeatherScope, live coverage of Winter Storm 96.
Hey, good morning. We're live in the Weather Channel Forecast Center as the wild, I guess sometimes wonderful, winter of 96 continues as we watch another storm work its way northeastward and dump a bunch of slop on top of what has already occurred during the blizzard of 96. And as you know, in Baltimore, Washington, Philly, and Boston, as well as New York, you haven't cleaned up enough yet. But we're talking about a heavier snow coming your way now, and some of that snow is going to add on, especially some of the rooftops, to what we've already seen. So dangers still exist from the first storm and what is coming. Let's show you what's currently going on, and then we'll take you there firsthand. Here you can see New York just starting to get on the lead edge of that snowfall now. A lot of that is still aloft, but just down the road a piece, along the Turnpike and the Parkway, you start hitting the heavier snow around Trenton, down into Philadelphia, through much of south central Jersey, and you'll even notice a little enhancement here. That is sleet. And there is freezing rain and sleet mixing in now at Atlantic City. But just to the north of that band, there has been some very, very heavy snow. And that's what's occurring right now back around Baltimore and Washington and up along the Wilmington-Delaware Memorial Bridge. So that is all moving to the northeast. And one of those areas that's going to be hit by that heavy snow is right in Philadelphia. And guess who's joining us from Philadelphia? We got Bill Keneally standing by. Bill, the snow continues to come down. Can you give us a report?
That's right, Jim. The weather outside indeed very frightful right now. We just saw our first snowplow go by. The roadways are getting snowpacked and slushy. We are on a thoroughfare that's not really that busy. It's a big circle. We are just to the south of the Philadelphia Museum of Art, looking down the Ben Franklin Parkway. Not a whole lot of visibility there now. Visibility probably about a half a mile or so. So the snowfall rates are about a half an inch per hour. We've had already about an inch of snow on the ground. The wind continues. It's starting to gust pretty good out of the northeast.
How's your temperature been? We're talking about potentially an influence from the ocean here. What about you back there in Philadelphia?
Well, I'd suspect we're a little farther inland in Philly than we are, say, in New York. And right now, that cold air, the very cold air right over that snowpack, which we have plenty of, is holding intact. And I suppose we might be in the low 20s at best.
And that's about it, no doubt about
Right.
it. But it is going to get a little warmer, Bill, but the snow is definitely going to come down. Get ready for a heavier band. Thanks for that report. Folks, stay with us. We'll talk to Jill Brown in just a moment. But I want to show you the Doppler radar out of Atlantic City, and I want to show you that band just a little bit more. You know, I was talking about this enhancement, this area of sleet, which usually shows up very reflective on the Doppler radar, but it is just to the north of that where we're getting very, very heavy snow coming down, and that is what's moving northeast. Check out the snow from about Allentown down through Trenton and on just to the south of Monmouth. And this is all heading toward the tri-state area. You see New York City in the clear for now. Let's find out just how clear. We go to Jill Brown, who's standing by in New York City. Jill, can you give us a report from New York?
Well, Jim, we've been here on the Upper West Side, or the West Side actually, Central Park West, all week long, and things have changed quite a bit. You can see that earlier this week we had this road to ourselves, but now we're having to share it with the traffic and pedestrians, and parking seems to be the real headache at this point. People are just parking any old place, practically out in the road, because where they would typically be parking, it's covered with snow at this point. Now we're finally beginning to see a few flakes of snow, nothing like what they're getting in Philadelphia yet, but I think that's headed this way, and that's the big concern at this point. This is going to be a fast-moving storm, so what we get probably won't be much. We shouldn't have problems with heavy rain causing flooding, because even if we get rain, it should be out of here pretty quickly. But more snow or sleet or freezing rain or anything like that is just going to slow down that process of trying to clean up from the blizzard. This isn't going to be a huge event. It's just going to kind of put us on backlog a little while longer.
Jill, we talked to you just a little while ago, and as you mentioned, this is going to be a mess of stuff: snow, sleet, freezing rain, and whatnot. Have you noticed the temperature come up just a little bit there?
Actually, it's come up a little bit today. It's a little bit warmer than it has been. So that makes people think, well, maybe we are going to get rain. I guess we kind of have to wait and see. There's a little bit of snow right now. Again, probably a changeover. It's just going to get sloppy and ugly here by this afternoon.
All right, thank you very much, Jill, for that report. As she showed you, just a little bit of snow starting to accumulate there, or starting to develop in the tri-state area. And as we know, down in Philadelphia with Bill, the snow is coming on down. Let's show you what's fallen and what we think is going to happen with this particular storm. Again, heavy snow here. We can, as we did, we updated the Baltimore-Washington area with 2-4 inches of snow now, and that's all heading up toward Philadelphia. But what's interesting about this storm is as this low pulls on to the north and east, we are going to shove in a tremendous amount of warm air in the low levels. But we also have a tremendous snowpack which exists all along the coastline here. So what that means is you are going to get the full gamut here. Right along the immediate coast, you'll probably start off as snow, then sleet and freezing rain mixing in, then perhaps go to all rain. But I'm telling you, just 50 to 100 miles inland, we're going to run this full gamut. I mean, we're going to have snow, sleet, freezing rain, and it is just going to be an absolute mess. So if you are traveling around the tri-state area, even up into Boston later on as this precipitation continues to move toward the north, that's what's coming your way. In Philadelphia and Washington, it's snowing too much right now and too quickly as the storm is moving to get the warm air in there. So it looks like all snow there. Will there be a break beyond this? Let's go talk to Marnie in the studio.
Well, I have the good news. Yes.
Good morning. We're live in the Weather Channel Forecast Center as we continue to watch the winter of '96 have snow pile up in the megalopolis. And once again, some big problems this morning at the airports as well as with the traveler heading off to work in Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia. And we'll take you there in just a moment. Let me show you this storm on radar and show you what's happening out there. You can see this very heavy snow pushing up through Philadelphia and Baltimore and across New Jersey. Warmer air starting to get in now, so we're seeing a change over to freezing rain and then eventually all rain along the coastline. And this is the forecast problem we face in New York and Boston, and we'll talk more about that in just a little bit. But we have an upper low back here and a surface low down to the south, and that thing's just pumping in some major league warm air, and we are getting snowfall rates at 2 inches an hour. Baltimore, Washington, D.C. already 2 to 5 inches of snow on the ground. And up the road a piece stands Bill Keneally in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Phil, how's the weather, or Bill, how's the weather like in Philadelphia?
Okay, Jim, you talked about this snow falling at the rate of 1 to 2 inches per hour in Baltimore. We're probably up around an inch, maybe an inch and a half per hour, all told. Closing in on a couple of inches now on the ground here. Whiteout conditions, visibility about a quarter mile at times, and I'm sure it's snarling the traffic on the area roadways inbound on I-76. The Schuylkill is a mess, and also the airports are getting some major delays now. You can see behind me there's not much visibility out here. The crews are doing what they can. The mayor calls this the Blizzard Brigade, the task force out there working on the roadways. They have many plows. The plows are now out in abundance. We're on a big circle. This is on the Ben Franklin Parkway. Looking back to the northwest, behind me is the Philadelphia Museum of Art, made famous in the Rocky series. And downtown is actually behind me. Earlier you could see it rather clearly, but once again now the visibility is cut down to a quarter mile at best.
Well, sounds like someone's coming to take you away there, Bill. But obviously some problems in Philadelphia. We have sirens in the background, so I'm sure those accidents are underway. Big travel day this afternoon, folks heading home from a long week. And still, we've had reports of problems at the airports just about every day, all day this week. Bill, thanks for checking in with us. We'll talk to you a little bit later on. Folks, I want to show you the Doppler radar now out of central New Jersey, and you can just see the sleet showing up very well here. Usually that shows up in a snow area as a very enhanced reflectivity, and that's what we're getting in through here. But just to the north of that sleet and back down through the northern Chesapeake, across the Delaware River, and in through much of the Central Parkway now and Turnpike in New Jersey, we are getting very, very heavy snow. As Bill showed you, an inch and a half an hour there, as much as 2 inches an hour in through here, and all this is heading on off toward the northeast. But we do face a big forecast problem, and I'll show you why. Here's the infrared satellite picture. All this enhancement out here is showing us that we're getting a lot of warm air and a deep bubbling of the atmosphere. So this is where all the warm air is starting to rise. But some of that is starting to sneak in along the coast, and that's why we're seeing the changeover at Chincoteague on upward towards Salisbury already, and even into Atlantic City. But that fine line where it's not going to wedge out the cold air at the surface across central New Jersey, so Trenton, up into Newark, White Plains, New York, and even further to the northeast, be careful. because we are talking about a major ice event there with sleet and freezing rain. You can see what's already fallen around the D.C. area, 3 to 6 inches. That is all moving on off toward the north and east as our area of low pressure continues to deepen and pump in tremendous amounts of warm air. Again, the big forecast problem is what?
D.C. National Airport, the same story. LaGuardia, reports of delays, other delays out of Newark, Dulles, and Pittsburgh. So we will continue to keep you posted on this scenario throughout the day today. But again, a lot of problems at the major hubs because of our second